November 2017. Under Christie's lights in New York, a single painting sits on an easel. Salvator Mundi. Christ's face emerging from darkness, a hand raised in blessing. The final bid lands. $450 million. The most expensive artwork ever sold. Leonardo da Vinci's name trends worldwide. Museums queue to borrow it. Scholars ask for access. Headlines call it a lost masterpiece. And then, it disappears. No museum debut, no verified photos in a living room, no gala unveiling. $450 million vanishes into a climate-controlled somewhere, a warehouse, a freeport, a yacht. Nobody outside the inner circle knows. This isn't suspicious, it's normal. All over the world, billions of dollars of art sit in storage. Picassos in crates, Rothkos under plastic, Basquiat's on metal racks. Some haven't been seen in public for decades. If this was only about beauty, why is so much of it sitting in the dark? Because billionaires aren't buying art for the view. They're buying it for something else entirely. Once you understand what that something else is, the art world stops looking like culture and starts looking like one of the most elegant financial engineering systems ever created. The story we're told goes like this. Wealthy people love beauty. They're patrons of culture. They spend fortunes preserving masterpieces, then generously loan them to museums so the public can experience them. It's noble, it's romantic, and it's mostly myth. Look at the numbers. In the 1950s, a Picasso might sell for $30,000. By the 1980s, that same painting could fetch $5 million. In the 2000s, $50 million. By the 2000s and 20s, over $100 million. That's not inflation. That's not more people appreciating art. That's capital discovering a tool. Now look at who's buying. Not museum curators, not art historians, not lifelong scholars scraping together savings. It's hedge fund founders, private equity partners, oil heirs, real estate magnates. People trained in leverage and tax law, not brushstrokes. They buy the painting, smile for the cameras, pose for one photo, and then ship it straight to storage. If this were really about waking up every morning to bask in a masterpiece, the best art in the world wouldn't be living in warehouses. Because for them, the painting isn't just decoration. It's three things: a store of value, collateral, and a tax tool. Let's start with the first. A billionaire doesn't look at a painting the way you or I do. We see color, composition, emotion. They see size, portability, opacity, upside. Compare art to other places the wealthy park money. Real estate appreciates, but you can't move a skyscraper. It's tied to a country, a tax regime, a land registry. Property taxes hit every year. Ownership is often public. Gold is portable, but obvious. Heavy, regulated, and usually only tracking inflation. Stocks and bonds can be liquid, but every trade is logged. Capital gains are taxed. Markets can be halted, traced, frozen. Now look at art. A $100 million painting fits into one crate, on a private jet, in the back of a truck. There is no global registry listing every owner. Many sales are private. Ownership can sit behind LLCs, trusts, offshore entities. And historically, top-tier blue-chip artworks, Picasso, Monet, Warhol, Basquiat, have delivered long-term returns that beat many traditional assets. So if you're a billionaire thinking, I want to move $50 million out of this jurisdiction quietly, you don't need to wire anything. You ship a painting. If you want an asset that doesn't show up obviously on a balance sheet, you don't buy a building. You buy art through a shell company. If you want something that can appreciate without triggering taxes until you decide to sell, you buy art. But here's the crucial part. Most of the time, you don't sell at all, because there's a smarter move. This is where it gets clever. Once you own valuable art, you don't have to sell it to get cash. You can borrow against it. Imagine you buy a Basquiat for $50 million. You store it. No one sees it. Nothing changes on your Instagram. But in the eyes of a bank, you own an asset worth $50 million. Now you want $30 million in liquidity. You have options. Option 1, sell the painting. You crystallize gains, pay a huge tax bill, lose the asset and its future appreciation. Option 2, sell other investments. Same problem, tax events, reduced portfolio. Option 3, use the painting as collateral. A private bank or specialized lender offers you a loan, say $30 to $40 million, secured by the Basquiat. You keep the art, you keep the upside. You pay interest, but you avoid the capital gains tax a sale would trigger. And most importantly, a loan is not income. Loans are not taxed. Now scale this. You don't have one painting, you have a collection worth $500 million. You can obtain a credit line for $300 million secured by that collection. You live off that borrowing. You buy companies, you buy real estate, you buy more assets that generate returns higher than your loan's interest rate. And if you hold those paintings until you die, there's one more twist. In many tax systems, your heirs inherit assets with a step up in basis. The tax system resets the purchase price to the current market value. The original gains quietly vanish. Your heirs can sell with little or no capital gains tax, or keep borrowing against the collection. You spend a lifetime accessing hundreds of millions in cash without reporting taxable income. That's not collecting, that's wealth extraction wrapped in culture. There's a third layer. This is where the art market starts looking less like a gallery and more like a sandbox for finance. Because unlike stocks or real estate, the art market is lightly regulated, highly opaque, and deeply subjective, which makes it ripe for price shaping. Here's a simplified version. You're a billionaire. You find a young artist whose works sell for $50,000. You quietly buy 10 pieces. Total, $500,000. You are now their main collector. You donate one piece to a respected museum. The museum, hungry for contemporary relevance, accepts it and hangs it. Now this artist has institutional credibility. Next, you put another painting up for auction. You or friendly bidders push the price up. It sells for $200,000. On paper, the market just decided this artist is worth 4 times more. Now your remaining 8 works can be appraised at that level. Your original $500,000 is now worth $2 million. Donate another piece. You claim a tax deduction not for $50,000, what you paid, but for $200,000, fair market value. You paid $50, you deduct $200. You lock in tax savings. And you still own the majority of the collection, now priced at this higher level. This is legal. This is common. This is the game. It can go even further. Because many sales are private, you can sell a painting from one shell company you control to another shell company you control at a higher internal price. That sale can be used as evidence of value for loans, insurance, appraisals. You've manufactured a higher valuation by trading with yourself. Now add freeports. Special storage zones in Geneva, Luxembourg, Singapore, even parts of the US. Art stored there is considered in transit, not imported, not officially in any country. So, no import duties, often no VAT, fewer tax triggers, minimal disclosure. You can buy a painting in one country, ship it straight to a freeport, hold it there for years, sell it to someone else within that same freeport, and no state ever sees a traditional taxable sale. No customs, no headlines, no public record. You don't have to believe everyone is laundering money, you just have to notice how easy the structure makes it. So why does this system keep running untouched? 4 reasons. 1. Subjective value. Art has no earnings, no rent, no universal yardstick. A painting is worth whatever someone will pay on that day in that room. That makes it very easy for large players to move the bar. 2. Privacy. Big art deals are often private. Buyers anonymous, sellers anonymous, ownership buried in layers of entities. Compared to stocks or property, the visibility is microscopic. 3. Cultural cover. Art feels noble. Saying, I spent $100 million on a painting sounds refined. Saying, I parked $100 million in an opaque, lightly regulated asset class that I'll borrow against tax-free does not. The culture story protects the financial story. 4. Incentives. There is no global regulator with the power or interest to police the art market. Auction houses, galleries, freeports, big collectors, major museums. The people with influence are also the people who benefit most from the current setup. No one at the top is motivated to demand stricter rules, so they don't. So why do billionaires buy art they never show? Because the point was never the view. To them, a painting is a store of value that can outpace inflation, collateral for loans that aren't taxed as income, a discreet way to move wealth between countries, a tool for manufacturing deductions via donations, and a playground where prices can be shaped in the shadows. Most masterpieces sitting in dark rooms aren't forgotten. They're working. That $450 million Leonardo? It didn't vanish because someone misplaced it. It vanished because it's useful in the dark, sitting in a vault, appreciating on paper, potentially backing loans, securing credit, quietly compounding. The art market will keep rising. Record prices will keep making headlines. More masterpieces will slip from public view into storage. Because at this level, art stopped being primarily about culture a long time ago. For the ultra-wealthy, the ideal asset is invisible, portable, appreciating, and lightly questioned. Art checks every box. So the next time you watch an auction and see applause for a record-breaking sale, remember, you're not just watching someone buy a painting. You're watching financial engineering in its most elegant costume. The painting disappears, the loans begin, the numbers grow. That's not an accident. That's the strategy. If you want to understand how wealth actually works at the top, beyond the museum plaques and into the wiring underneath, subscribe to Wealth Theory. Because art is just one frame in a much bigger picture.